Welcome to the other side. I'm so happy that you made it over here. Now, what we like to do at the start of any particular practice session is we like to recite a chant in praise of Patanjali, since Patanjali so graciously, thousands of years ago, organized this knowledge for human beings to be able to live a higher quality life, actually to a way to for us to actualize our fullest potential. And I will start today's um, session with this chant, but after today, I will ask you to go back to the special recording that really shares the praise to Patanjali so that you can practice on your time without having to watch the rest of the video or without having to access any of the ChantBack challenge videos. Okay, well, here goes. Yogena chittas yapadena vacham malam sharirasya cha vaidyakena yopakarotam pravaram munina Patanjalim pranjaliranatosmi abahu purushakaram Shankacha krasidharinam sahasrashirasam shvetam pranamami patanjalim Srimate Anantaya Nagarajaya Namo Namaha. Oh man, I love that chant. If you go back to the other video, um, I share also the word for word breakdown because I want you to know what the words mean that you're chanting so that you don't feel too weirded out by this stuff. Sometimes chanting in a foreign language, especially an ancient language like Sanskrit, can feel weird to us. But if we know what the words mean, then we realize, look, it's just like if somebody found in 1,000 years or 2,000 years found something written in English that was really meant to help them tap into their soul and express fully. But if they spoke a different language, they would think this English stuff is weird. But we're like, as English speakers today, we're like, yo, no, do it, man. This stuff is powerful and it will help you blossom. It will help you fully come alive. That's a beautiful thing. So that's what the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali uh, really help us do. But because it's written in another language, sometimes it's difficult for us to access and it feels too weird for us. So I love to share the words, the word for word breakdown and what the words mean so that you feel comfortable with this stuff. And also know that the ancients, they were deep, y'all. They not only are the words pure and the expression of the word does positive things for the vital fluids of our body. You know, if you don't know, go back and read a book by a guy named Masaru Emoto. It's called The Secret Life of Water. Um, he also wrote a book called Love Thyself. But it all has to do with putting words on a glass with water, being able to freeze the water and observe the crystalline structure of it. And when you have words like love, beauty, harmony, peace, then he found that the crystalline structure, the shape of the water was symmetrical, and symmetric meant beautiful. But when you saw words like war, hate, chaos, then the shape of the crystalline molecules were distorted, and that meant ugly. So if words on a glass of water can do that to the crystalline structure of the water, what do we think our thoughts can do to us, being that we are bodies of water, literally, right? So think about it. So the ancients, um, the ones who did this kind of science, they only focused on words that in a literal or a character symbolic form had a positive effect on us in terms of health. But the sound, was also meant to evoke something or do something to us that allow us to vibrate at a different frequency. Now, this is deep, so I'm not even going to go there, although I introduced it. But anyway, this is the praise to Patanjali. Go back and access the other document so that you can see what the words mean and you can have another opportunity to practice. Okay? All right, let's get into today's material. The first sutra of chapter 2, Sādhana Pāda. But I want to take you back first to a quote from Lao Tzu that says, you know, if you correct your mind, the rest of your life will fall into place. And Patanjali's Yoga Sutras are a direct response to this quote, although Patanjali predates, well, this is debated, right? The whole time of Patanjali. But again, if you listen to the introduction video where I talk about me being unconventional, my stance on what Patanjali is or what Patanjali represents is a little bit different than, well, it's a lot different than what the conventional school of wisdom will tell and teach. And they'll argue some other stuff, but I argue that it's a whole lot older than what we are led to believe. All right, but anyway, we can talk about that at another time. All right, but if you correct your mind, the rest of your life will fall into place. And Patanjali's Yoga Sutras are all about how to correct our mind. That's yoga, right? This is the first sutra. I will chant it again just so that you can hear it and you can see what it looks like without the swara marks. And keep in mind that this is the transliteration. This is not the Sanskrit script, which is written in Devanagari, right? Again, I should also say, and I don't always say this, but Sanskrit was a spoken language. And the characters used to express that spoken language were Devanagari. All right. So that's the written script, Devanagari is. But this is the transliteration. This is where we put it into Roman script so that we as English speakers in the West can understand, we know how to pronounce what these words are. So we can say them. This is a very phonetic way of really helping us pronounce the symbols. Okay, so I'm going to say it so that you can hear it. And then we're going to talk about, I'm going to give you an opportunity to write down the swara marks, okay, so that you know whether it's a high note, middle note, or a low note when we chant it. So anyway, here goes. Tapaha swadhyaya ishvara pranidhanani kriya yogaha. All right, there it is. And this is what the swara marks look like. So you should write this down on your notes. All right. So if you haven't downloaded the notebook, you should also download that and have that to write on. Or you can keep your own personal notes. I have found that, and I have a notebook full of stuff with my personal handwriting, because something happens when the brain tells the hand to write something down. I find value in that. But you also have access to the workbook so that you have an organized set of notes for your study convenience if you so desire. Okay, so take a moment to write these down. And I'm going to chant it again while you're looking at the swara marks so that you can hear the difference of the notes, when it's a high note, middle note, or low note. And in this particular sutra, we don't happen to have any high notes. Okay, so it's all going to be middle reference or low note. Okay, so listen and look at the symbols, the swaras. Tapaha swadhyaya ishvara pranidhanani kriya yogaha. I stand corrected. There was one high note, and I have it written on my slide here. It's over the first syllable of kriya. Kriya yogaha. All right, so you can hear the difference between all of the sounds or the pitch of each syllable, and those marks are ways for us to remember it as we study. Uh-oh. All right, and here it is again, and I'll recite it one more time for your listening pleasure, and then I ask you to pause the video and practice, and then rewind the video, listen to me, and then repeat what you hear as a way to practice, okay? But here goes. Tapaha swadhyaya ishvara pranidhanani kriya yogaha. Okay? So take a moment to practice saying that, and then run the tape, and you can pick up where we are next. Here we go. The word for word breakdown. So when we look at the word tapa, all right, sometimes you hear it pronounced tapas. It's the same word, tapaha, but you'll find that the form of the word looks different or and sounds different when it's in a certain context. But we won't worry about that because we're not here to be Sanskrit scholars, but we are here to know what the Yoga Sutras mean word for word so that we can actually internalize this material, and we can speak with authority in our own voice with confidence. Okay, and that's really what I want us to be able to do, to live the word, like the word of the Sutras of Patanjali. Okay, so tapaha means the removal of impurities. So we're talking about tough work, you know, and the removal of impurities is literal, right? Like to detox is a form of tapas. But also, how do we not have these negative, destructive words in our mental vocabulary bank? So there's tough work to like not say things that we grew up saying, thinking that it's okay because somewhere along the lines we've justified it. So we want to clean it all up, right? So if we have impure thoughts, how do we not have those thoughts anymore, right? If we have impure actions, how do we not do those things? Like, how do we not go to the fast food joint and order the hamburger? Or how do we not go to the local grocery store and get a pint of Haagen-Dazs ice cream? You know, how do we not order French fries when we're out, right? This is a form of tapas, right? And then we can go do a detox cleanse, right? Or we can fast for 40 days or 2 weeks or 3 days, right? All of these are forms of tapaha, right? Because we're removing impurities. But we're talking about on the physical gross level, but we're also talking about in the realm of thought, the realm of action, the realm of communication. All of these areas have impurities that we need to cleanse, right? We need to remove those, and that's tapaha, or tapas. Then we have swadhyaya. And swadhyaya is the kind of study or reflection that leads to knowledge of self. And we know that there's an ancient saying that says, man, know thyself. Woman, know thyself. So human being, know thyself, right? But know thyself is really the message. And swadhyaya is how we do that. And what does that mean? That means, you know, you live, you make mistakes, and you learn from those. You reflect on your life. And when you recognize something as a mistake or something that produces results or fruits in your life that you're not really happy or content with, then you do things to change that, right? And if we swadhyaya, you know, as a means of tapaha, then all is good, right? This is yoga, right? So tapaha, swadhyaya, right? Do those things. These are the first two criteria of yogic action. And then we have Ishvara Pranidhana. Oops, went too far. Ishvara Pranidhanani. All right. Ishvara is the infinitely intelligent divine ideal of pure awareness. Some people call that God or the oversoul or the universe. Everybody might have their own word for it, and that's fine. But whatever that is that conspires in your favor to pull strings in your life to help things happen to your benefit, then trust that. That's what this part of the sutra is saying. Ishvara, right? Pranidha, completely and continuously hold Ishvara in your mind and your thought, knowing that with all confidence that it has your back, right? So surrender to that, right? Don't worry about anything. It's all good. Even when it doesn't look good or feel good, trust that whatever that infinitely intelligent divine ideal of pure awareness is, that it's looking out for you. And it's in us all. We have it. But you think about it. You probably have some pretty horrific stories, some pretty traumatic things that you've lived through in your lifetime already. All right? We all do. We all have some of those tragic stories, no doubt. But guess what? If you are listening to this recording, you are still alive. That means that you made it through whatever you've gone through, right? Ishvara pranidhanani means to completely surrender to whatever that is that allowed you to survive. It has your back. And when you think about it, whatever you've gone through has only made you stronger. It has only given you strength. If you've never struggled, if you've never gone through anything tough, then you're never made stronger. You have to do things that are hard in order for the hard things to become easy. And this is what has happened. But if we never went through any kind of struggle in our life, we'd be made weak. And then if we got posed with the simplest things, then we feel like our whole life was coming to an end. You know, so like Ishvara pranidhanani, right? That's the third criteria in order for something or an action to be considered a yogic action. So we have tapaha, swadhyaya, ishvara pranidhanani, right? And then I broke down the word pranidhanani, which means to surrender. But if you look at the first syllable, pra, it means completely. Ni means continuously, and dha means to hold. So I kind of threw that in as, you know, some icing on this cake here. All right, but really know those. Really know those. And kriya, yoga, kriya means action. Very straightforward. And yoga is this process of yoking or bringing things together. When you look at the word health, right? Go to Edam Online if you ever have some time and type in health, right? And you'll find that health means to make whole or to be whole, right? W-H-O-L-E, whole. When we are not whole, we are not healthy, right? So yoga is this way of yoking things, bringing things together, whether we're yoking all the faculties of our mind so that we can focus and concentrate to get what needs to be done, that's yoga. Yoga is also, you know, bringing things together in our life so that they make sense in a whole way, right? So in a way, you think about it, you know, and this is where language kind of gets in the way. People hear the word holy, but, you know, when they think about religion or institutionalized religion, and I get it, but yoga, you think about it, it is really how to live holy, right? W-H-O-L-L-Y, which is homonyms with holy, H-O-L-Y. So, but you gotta ask yourself, you're like, well, hold on, what's really going on here? And this is what I mean by unconventional, right? When we can bring our whole self, funny enough, to the situation and kind of look at things for what they are and just observe things as they are, then we're good. And this goes back to Yoga Sutra 1.7, right? When we talk about pramana, right? The very first criteria of pramana was pratyaksha, which means direct perception. If you haven't watched that, go back and watch the 7 sutras from the first chapter, Samādhi, right? So that you can start to put all this stuff together. It's all connected, and that's yoga, right? A process of yoking, bringing things together, uniting things, right? Bringing things into union. Uni means one, so one whole thing. All right. So that's that. And the overall, well, this is the way I like to think of Kriya Yoga, right? When I think about the very first sutra of chapter 2, Sādhana Pāda. But yoga in action is an action that really meets all 3 of these criteria at the same time. It's not one or the other, right? You have to be doing all 3 in order for it to be considered a yogic action. So the first criteria is the removal of impurities via intense discipline. And we're talking about some extreme focus, right? If we're not really focused, then come on, right? It's not meeting this first criteria. Study that leads to knowledge of self. And I'm talking about the self with a capital S, right? Who we really are, our true nature. Man, know thyself. And three, the third criteria is to be completely and totally in surrender of and in alignment with the infinitely intelligent divine ideal of pure awareness, or if you call that God, or yeah, whatever you call it, Allah, it does not matter. You know, that's personal for you, but something larger than you is really looking after you. And we have to trust that, right? Otherwise, how does anything exist? I'm just saying. But anyway, that's Yoga Sutra 2.1. I am really glad that you tuned in to grab this this sutra content. And I look forward to connecting with you on Sutra 2.2. But for now, peace, love, and I will see you on the other side for Sutra 2.2. Later.